This is Richard Wolff responding to another Ask Prof. Wolff question from our Patreon community. And this question comes from Danny Heim. And Danny asks, whatever happened to boycotts as a weapon of social change? He argues, quite rightly, that it is powerful, that it hits the target in the money pocket where it hurts, that it has been effective in a whole variety of settings, and that yes, even though it hurts average people too, or at least it can, he asks very pointedly at the end of his question, did anyone really think we could get out of the situations we're in without some pain? Well, partly Danny has answered his own question, so let me just repeat it. It is an effective tool. It can be used. It should be used. There are legal hassles in certain ways. Secondary boycotts and so on have legal prohibitions, some of which can be worked with or around, others of which might have to require some attempt to amend or change laws and so on. But the notion that you use the market to wage a political campaign is an old idea and is certainly one that ought to be one of those in the arsenal of the people who want to make changes in society. And in fact, it already is. I remember a wonderful musical group called the Dixie Chicks, who had the temerity to be ashamed of all kinds of political operators on the right and to say so. And they were boycotted. Their records were not played or their tapes were not played on radio stations. Their discs and so on were not purchased, and all of the rest. It happens from the right. It happens from the left. It's sometimes official, sometimes unofficial, but it is a very powerful weapon. And here's a way to think about it. If you have a system that makes the market the institution that everyone is supposed to bow down to, if the market is affirmed as the greatest creation of the human community, which in right-wing capitalist societies it is, well, then there's almost an invitation to use the market to try to correct the inequalities, the instabilities that come, among other things, from markets. So yes, let us use our market power. We do not have to buy many things. And when those things are part of an apparatus that oppresses people, it's a reasonable response to not buy it. I remember being taught in elementary school that I was supposed to think of myself as free because if I didn't like something that I bought in the store, well, then I wouldn't have to buy it again. I literally was told, boycott that thing if you want to make some sort of statement about it, your dissatisfaction with it, or with something to do with it, and so on. So, for what it's worth, yeah, boycotting is a powerful weapon. But in order for it to be used, you have to have a self-conscious, intended movement to do it. In other words, there has to be the sense that there's a we, a collective group. You or I alone boycotting something will change nothing. A boycott is effective to the extent it is a collective action shared in by sizable numbers of people. And that's the organizational problem of the left in the United States, isn't it? That left is large. That left's roots run deep. That left has an understanding. But the overwhelmingly stark missing link, the lack on the left, is organization. getting people together so that you have the strength of many rather than the weakness of one or two. Solve the organization problem, and there'll be no shortage of strategies and tactics, including boycotts, that will become effective, available, and powerful. This is Richard Wolff for Democracy at Work.